Vice Chairman, what happened?
Well, what happened was that we lost the elections. That is not surprising. You either going to win or you lose, particularly any of the two big parties. And so the history is continuing. After every 8 years, you have the... What really surprised us was the scale of the loss. But otherwise, if you lose, you take it in stride and you go and re-strategize for the next election. So that's what happened. We lost. But the surprising thing is the margin. The conduct of the election itself, of course, there will be few places where there will be difficulties, delays in starting the voting and so on. But generally, everybody agrees that the conduct was very good. And you look at the reviews by all the international observers, they are praising the conduct of the election. So the Electoral Commission deserves commendation for the way that the election went last Saturday. And also the security. The IGP had made a policy direction that they were going to focus on de-escalation so that they were going to be tolerant as much as possible so that difficulties do not escalate in terms of the consequences. And so far, it looks like it's working because some of the things that have happened, if you didn't have a policy like that, I'm sure the security reports would have been different. So the security too deserve commendation. The voters too, the few polling stations that I visited, the voters were calm, the voting was going on. There's a lot of camaraderie between the supporters of the different parties at the polling stations. I went to about 18 polling stations on that day. So the voters to the Ghanaian electorate deserve commendation for the way they conducted themselves. Even in places where, I went to 2 polling stations where as of 9 a.m., almost 10 a.m., the voting hadn't started. But the people were calm in the queue, and that was commendable. Somewhere in Bawi also, I think yeah, that's the place. The voting hadn't started as of 9:30 when I got there. But people were calm. My party's coalition has been, fantastic. Joe Anoche and his gang of young men and women, they live up to expectation. So by 9:30 p.m. on that day, we knew clearly where the results were going because of the system that they had set up. And the system that had set up was giving real-time reports on the votes at the polling stations. And when it was around 2,500 polling stations, we were leading. As about 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., we're in the lead. And at that time, they had reports from 2,500 or so polling stations. At the time, it got to about 8,900 and 9,000 polling stations. It had turned. And the percentages were increasingly coming in favor of John Mahama. And so by that time, we knew that it wasn't going to go our way around 9:30 p.m. So the NPP coalition, they believe that they did the same in 2016 and 2020. and they've even improved upon it in 2024. And they also deserve commendation. We lost by, well, when you look at the raw results, you could see that about 2 million people who voted for NPP in the last elections did not vote for us in these elections. And we have to find out why. Obviously, they must be upset about something, the party and the government. But we need to drill down to find out why they were upset and wouldn't go to the polling stations to vote at all. We need to find that out.
Pick your mind on this, on just that point you raised. Okay. Now, I know that, and because you're vice chair, I know that the parties, especially NPP and DC, you invest a lot in research.
Yeah.
Now, was the research not pointing this out to you? This apathy, disgruntled people, disaffection, whether it's party, government, and all that, were the polls and the research we're conducting not pointing to this?
The research that we did, and we're doing monthly research, pointed to it. It's just the extent of it that we couldn't get. But it was pointing to it right from day one. In fact, the research that we did around February showed us that, showed us that John Mahama, in terms of the presidential, was leading by nearly 10 points.
Okay.
Yes. And then as we came, the campaign got underway and heated up. It kept reducing. And as of September, October, we knew that it had narrowed to a point where we had a good chance.
1 point?
To
Okay.
a percentage.
Okay.
I mean, in February, March, it was about 10. It was leading us by about 10 percentage points, which is quite alarming. I mean, but by September, October, it had come down to about 2. And so we're very confident.
Is that where your second round things came up?
Yes. We're very confident. There was a new momentum because of those. So we knew that there was a lot of apathy, a lot of disgruntlement among